All right, hey everyone, I guess it's time we get started here. Welcome to our webinar, CrazyTalk 8 webinar on creating 3D and 2D heads. In this webinar, throughout the webinar, I'm going to be showing you how to a couple of methods to create heads in CrazyTalk 8. We're going to start really slowly. It's kind of a beginner's webinar, so we're going to be going fairly slowly. And we're also going to have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar for the last 10-15 minutes or so. So if you have any questions about the procedure or anything else related to CrazyTalk 8 or Reallusion in general, feel free to put that in the questions section of your GoToWebinar panel, and I'll be getting to those questions at the end of the webinar here. All right, so today we actually have a special promotion going on as well for all of our attendees. We're offering one of our content packs for $1. So to find this content pack, first of all, I'm going to go here to the forum post here. So there's a forum post that will give you all the information you need to get to this content pack and everything. The content pack is called Dress Up Showtime, and we're going to be I'm going to be showing you some of the articles of clothing from this pack a little bit later on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just paste this URL here into the chat window. Okay, so this should be going out to everyone if you want to visit that for yourself during the webinar or later on. Make sure you check that out. So what we're going to be doing is if you create your own 3D head and post a video of it on this forum, then we're going to be providing you with a discount code where you can get this content pack, this Dress Up Showtime content pack for $1. In addition to that, if you want to get it for free, we're going to be sending out a survey at the end of this webinar as well for any of your feedback. If you want any have any requests for future topics, or you have any feedback about the webinar itself, we encourage you to fill out that survey we're going to send to you, and we'll be presenting that. We'll be taking all that feedback from you guys later on. All right. So let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and go to the webpage first and kind of show you where you can find all this stuff. So to find the pack, go up here to CrazyTalk, and in CrazyTalk, we're going to go over here to 3D Actors. And in 3D Actors, down a little bit lower, you'll find a pack called the Dress Up Pack. And here's our Dress Up Showtime pack right here. All right, so this is all the stuff. You can check it out on your own time there. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go right into CrazyTalk, and the character that we're going to be creating later on in this webinar here. Oh, sorry about that. I think the internet kind of just froze there for a minute. The character we're going to be creating is this Samuel L. Jackson character you can see on the screen right now. If I play back, we've got a kind of a punk-looking Samuel L. Jackson here with some tattoos and some blackness on his eye there, a black eye, as well as some cuts on his head there. I'm going to be showing you how to recreate this guy a little bit later on. And on top of that, I'm going to be showing you how to recreate the teacher, Samuel L. Jackson, that we can see here. I'm just going to load up this custom actor. So we have two completely different types of Samuel L. Jacksons here, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to create both of those. These are 3D heads. I'm going to also be showing you how to create the 2D head to start off the webinar as well. Okay, so hopefully you guys can follow along here. We're going to be going at a fairly decent pace. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the questions section, and we'll get to those later on. All right, we're not going to do any sort of PowerPoint or anything like that because we want to focus more on the live demo part of the webinar here. And again, any questions can be put in the questions section. All right, so let's go over here to new project. All right, and we're going to go ahead and we don't want to save our project right now. Now, if you want to get a nice background for your scene to start off here, you can go over here to your content manager, and under background, you'll find a number of different types of backgrounds here. I'm just going to go ahead and use this regular blue backdrop here, this basic one, just because it's fairly simple and basic here. And to create your character, you can go over here just to create new actor. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Go up to create new actor, and we're going to start off with a 2D head. I'm going to show you quickly how to do this, and then we're going to move on to the 3D head a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select 2D head here, and the image I'm going to use is this image right here of Samuel L. Jackson. This guy here has a really cool website, wilsonsketchblog.blogspot.com. I'd recommend checking it out for any sort of parody type of cartoon celebrities. There's a whole bunch of them there. You can just follow that URL and find a whole bunch of stuff like this, a whole bunch of front-facing character images. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to crop out this bottom part since we don't really need it. If you want to crop out any part of your image, you can just use the crop tool right here. And I'm going to go ahead and crop from here. Whoops. Nope, we don't want to do that. Let's cancel that. I'm going to crop from the bottom left here. And we're going to go up to there and go ahead and apply. And that'll just crop out the little bottom part there that we don't need. All right, that's really all we need to do in this step here. I'm going to go to the next step now. And in this step, basically, you just put the positions for all of your different anchor points on the edges of the eyes here. So I'm going to click and drag this one over here and this one over here. You can use the reference image on the top left to find out exactly where you want to put stuff. Now, this character's mouth is not ideal. Generally, you want a mouth that's kind of like straight across and a neutral expression. His lips are kind of curvy and stuff, but we can fix that a little bit later on, and I'll show you how to do that later. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to place these markers at the edge of the mouth right here and here, and then we're going to go ahead into the next step. And the next step is basically the most complicated step for this entire process, but it's fairly simple. So what I'm going to do here is just click these little markers here. This guy has a really big head, so we're going to have to click that and raise that quite a bit. This one right here goes on the nose. So this should be, he has a fairly big and exaggerated nose, this character, so we can actually just click those markers to the very edges of the nose. And there's another step where you get more detail than this. So at this step here, you don't really need to do too much. You just want to get the general position of all of your markers here. Let's go ahead and bring that marker over here. And what you want to do here is you want to have your markers along the outline of the eye. Again, this procedure is pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about it, any tips or whatever you want, you can ask me in the question Q&A section at the end of this webinar here. So I'm just going to place some general markers right here. And you want the other ones to be kind of the mouth here. So let's go down and focus on the mouth. And just bring this one up there. And just try to be a bit more specific, precise with our placement here. And let's bring this one down. I generally don't spend too much time on this step because we can always go to the next step here, which is the detail step. So in the detail step here, that'll give you some more markers that you can place more accurately on your character's head. Now this guy has a big head like I mentioned before, so we're going to kind of have to exaggerate the placement of these markers here. All right, and you can scroll your mouse button to zoom in and out as well. Okay, we're just going to place this one up here, and there we go. And these outer markers need to be kind of, because he has really big ears in this image, so, excuse me, you want to put the outer markers here around the outer parts of the ear. And these ones here should be placed along the character's face, just like this. All right, we're not going to be too specific in this. I don't really want to focus too much on the 2D character. We're going to focus a little bit more on the 3D later on, because that's normally the one that people go with here. There's a number of limitations with the 2D characters, which we'll get into a little bit later as well. All right, so let's place these again along the edge of our character's face right here. And there we go. And I'm going to just place this one up here. And we should be good to go. Let's focus on the eyes now. You can use this pan tool here to pan around your image like that as well. And then go back to this pointer here. Okay, so what you want to do is place all these markers here along the outer edges of the eyes. I don't want to spend too much time on this 2D character again, so I'm just going to, quickly place these as fast as I can. All right, and the nose, this one needs to be kind of in the center of the nose there. And the other ones need to be kind of on the edges of the nostrils. Hopefully your character doesn't have a nose as big as this, but you have to do what happens when the situation arises. You have to fit that character's face. All right, so let's kind of place these points over here. And this one can be placed over here. And just basically doing some more detailed placement of all these markers here. Now, like I mentioned, the curved lips are not ideal, but we can work with them. Okay, so I'll just kind of place these markers a little bit closer in, like this. And we want to try and get a straight line along the black part of the mouth there. There we go. And I think we should be good to go at that point. All right. So the markers, again, they're fairly straightforward, fairly easy just to place them. I want to get these ones to make a bit more of a curve on the top there. All right, there we go. I think we should be good to go. Now you can test out, you can use all these tests here to rotate your head, facial expression, and stuff like that. I'm not going to bother with this at this point. We're just going to go ahead and on to the next step here. All right, and this point here is just face orientation. So if your character's face is kind of pointing a different direction, you can rotate this face orientation. You can see it right there. We don't really have to worry about this in this case because this character is facing directly forward. So let's just go ahead and press OK. And we can just press yes. We don't need to save this project because it's actually going to just bring this character in. So here's the problem. We have this character. This is a fully animatable character now. So if we go up here to face puppet, we can choose any sort of face profile. You can see there's our character. So we have animated a 2D image really quickly. You can click your mouse buttons to have your character blink. However, there's a couple of limitations here. One problem here is you can see that we have a purple background. It's kind of, if I move his head up like this, the purple background is distorting on the scene right there. So what we can do is we can actually go up here and we can go to mask editing. Okay, so mask editing right here. And with mask editing, there'll be an auto mode that you can select where it'll automatically remove certain parts of the background. Now, if we press OK here, you can see it's going to remove parts of the background that we don't want, like part of the character's body and stuff. So I'm going to press Control Z to get that back on. We're going to go back into mask mode here, or mask editing rather. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into manual mode here. We'll switch to manual mode. Go ahead and press yes. And what I want to do here now is use this quick select tool. So this is the key tool. You can just select the parts that we don't want, hold the shift key, and we should be good to go from that point on. So I'm just clicking, holding the shift key, and I'll select all those parts right here using this quick select tool. You can adjust the tolerance if you want. You can select a preview, so you can see with a nice black outline there. We don't really need to mess around with that too much. You can go ahead and press OK. All right, so then we have this character with a clear background. We can add in a blue backdrop, and there we go. So now we have the masked out character. All right, so let's move on from here now. So if we want to save this, we can go ahead and save it. We can go up here to character and into actor and custom, and under the 2D actor folder, we can go ahead and save it. We can just press plus here, and I've already saved it as Sam. We can just go ahead and save it as custom, whatever. And that's how you save your character, and you can bring it in whatever you want as well. So that's a quick overview of how you can create your 2D character. Let's get into the 3D characters now. So for this time, I'm going to go ahead and create a new actor, and this time we're going to create a 3D actor. Now for the 3D actor, we have the option of importing in one image or two images. Now in this case, I'm only going to use one image, and I'll show you how easy that is in just a moment here, because actually CrazyTalk 8 generates a kind of a blending for the side character's face here, blending for the side material on the side of the head, and we'll talk about that in just a moment here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and import in our first image here, and I'm going to bring in this first image, but before I do that, I'm going to preview this second image here. Now this is generally what you kind of want to do. If you only have a single image, you kind of want to do something like this when you create a 3D head. And I'll show you why in just a moment. Just make a mental note of this for now, because we're just going to close this down. I'm going to use my Samuel L. Jackson picture again. And we don't need to crop it in this case. Okay, so let's go ahead and press the next button. And right here, all you want to do is follow the mark feature points on the reference image to the left here. So for the first one, we're going to click on the corner of the eye here, as you can see, and just basically follow these. So you place them one by one. The fitting here is a bit more detailed. Okay, I'm going to place one right on the tip of the nose there. And these ones go in the corner of the mouth. So corner of the left mouth, middle right there, and on the side. And these ones here kind of go where the top of the ear connects with the cheek. So in this character, it's going to be about right here. Now this character has a really uniquely shaped face here. It's really exaggerated. The cheeks are kind of jutting out quite a bit, and the temples come in a little bit, and that'll present a challenge for us a little bit later on, but I'll talk about that when we get to it. Okay, for this one here, we place basically where the jaw meets the neck, so right around here. And this one here, we just place on the bottom of the chin. Now what you want to do is you kind of want to make sure that you have a direct symmetrical line from the top of your character's head to the lips down to the chin there. Okay, if you misplace these, you can kind of click and drag them to wherever you want as well. Okay, so you just click and drag. If I place it right there, we have a better straight line from the chin up to the top of the forehead there, which we'll get to in just a moment. All right, let's place this one here at the joint where the head or the neck meets the head rather, over there. And try and keep everything symmetrical. So I'll just kind of place this one, whoops, right over here. Oops. It's not letting us place the point here. Oops. Okay, there we go. You have to click it off here. If you accidentally click the pan tool, you have to click it again to click it off, and then place your next point over here. There we go. And then on the top of the forehead right here. Again, so try and keep it as straight a line as possible from here to here. All right. And I think we're good to go for the next step. So let's go on to the next step here. And this is where we get all the fun stuff. We got to modify the head and do all kinds of fun stuff for the 3D head. So here you can see we have a head, and on the side, CrazyTalk 8 has automatically generated this material that we blend into the face, which doesn't look too good at the moment. We're going to fix that a little bit later on. But let's focus now on the shape of the head in the first place here. So for the head, I'm just going to go ahead and choose this African profile here. Okay, so they're all a little bit different here. This one probably suits our Samuel L. Jackson character a bit better. And then we'll go to the next step. Okay, you can choose male or female profiles here. It all depends on the type of character that you have. Okay, let's go to the next step now. Now this is the most important step here. You can see there's a lot of stuff to go through. So I'm going to go through as detailed as possible here. First, it's going to start off with your character's right eye. And just like in the 2D in the 2D face fitting process, you want to place all these markers on our character's eye, basically where the eye white meets the eyelid. Okay, and let's just get back to this here. All right. All right, so let's click over here. And again, placing the points is kind of the most monotonous, but it's actually the most essential part of the entire process. So hopefully I'm going not too fast for you guys, because this process is kind of pretty repetitive, pretty basic. It's kind of straightforward as well. So let's place all these here. All right, and these points right here. All right, there we go. Let's move to the nose now. Now the nose is a bit tricky in some cases. As you can see, our nose kind of looks way out of whack here on the 3D head viewer to the right. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. You can right click and drag to rotate this image. Scroll your mouse button in and out, or up and down rather, to zoom in and out. You can right click and rotate to get a view of kind of what your nose is going to look like from different angles. Now if you look closely, you can kind of see this kind of outline right here. Where my cursor is right there, there's kind of an outline. And that doesn't really match up to our character, the lines of our character's nose. And that's because we really need to kind of modify the nose quite significantly in this case, because the nose is really big on this dude, really exaggerated. So let's take these points here, and I'm going to click and drag this point over here. Basically, what we want to do is we want to encapsulate the nostril here. So let's kind of bring that point up right here. And I'm going to bring this down. And this point here, this is important. You want to kind of string these around the nostril here. So I'm going to click and drag these points here. So these points have to kind of curl around the nostril just like this. And you'll notice that when I do that, we get the black part of our character's nostril there is kind of in the place where we want it to be, just like that. Okay. This could kind of be probably a bit closer in as well. Just use the image on the right as a reference. Don't really worry about where the markers are on the left, to be honest with you. But it's more or less that you need to kind of focus on what your character looks like on the right here. All right, let's just bring that up a tiny bit. All right, I don't spend too much time on the nose here. But the nose is one of the most important parts. So let's do the same thing for the next step here. Let's bring this one over here. And there we go. Now you can see that that shadow, that kind of outline, is in a little bit of a better place. You can kind of double as a nose shadow or something like that. Okay, I'm going to place this a little bit further up. And this one goes a little bit kind of further down, just like that. And now you can notice that if I leave my mouse button over certain parts of the nose here, these two parts, it kind of highlights in yellow. And if you do this, if you click and drag on any of these parts, so like say I click and drag on the tip of the nose there, I can click and drag it up and down like this. So if you kind of want to, modify the mesh on the right there, you can do it this way. So if I wanted to bring the nose down a little bit, I can do so. Over here, it'll kind of bulge your entire nose out quite a bit, or bring it back in. Let's kind of bring it to a reasonable level, just like this. Okay, I think that nose is looking fine and dandy at this point. All right, so let's go on to the mouth now. For the mouth, again, the trickiness of this curved mouth, I recommend using the straight mouth characters. Let's bring these points over here. The top of the lips can come down a little bit as well. Oops. One other little hotkey there as well, if you want, you can right-click your mouse button. When you right-click your mouse button, it'll switch to a pan tool, and then you can left-click and drag around like this. If you right-click again, it'll go back to your pointer tool. So that's a little handy little tip. If you're panning around your image quite a bit, you can right-click it, and it'll change to the hand, which is the pan tool there, and you can left-click and drag to move around all different parts. All right. Now, don't worry about the teeth kind of showing through there on the right. I'll show you how to fix that a little bit later on. All right, let's move on to the face now. All right, so the face, again, don't really worry about where the markers are on the left part of the image here. It's actually the right, the 3D head view that you want to focus on, okay? So again, even though these markers are kind of like into his head there, we don't really need to worry about that because the head on the right looks okay. I'm not going to worry too much about replacing or placing all these markers. What I'm going to do is focus on the chin here a little bit. Let's zoom in here and pan, zoom out a little bit there. All right, and notice on the right part of the character's chin, or on the left part of his chin rather, to our right, you can see some of the purple background there showing through, which is obviously something that we don't want. So let's go ahead and tighten up these pointers a little bit. Because what it's going to do is it's basically taking the material from the image that you created or that you imported in. All right, so when I bring those markers up, we're not getting any of the purple background there, and we can kind of tighten it up a little bit and get a lot less of the lines that we don't want there. All right, so let's bring this one up here as well. There we go, just like this, tighten everything up. And the head shape we can modify a little bit later on. I'm going to show you how to do that momentarily. The ears, if you want to flap out the ears a lot, you can just take these little yellow, or when it highlights yellow, just click and drag. You can bring the ears way out like this if you want. This character has fairly big ears, so we're going to kind of bring them out like this. We want to kind of bring the temples in a little bit as well. So let's take this little part here and bring those temples in just slightly like this. Again, don't worry about where the markers are on the left part of the image, or in the left image there. Just worry about the results on the right. All right, and then we're going to go to all here, and this is where you can, modify all the stuff that you need to all together. But everything's okay. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. You can calibrate the eye and the mouth if you want. And then we're going to move on to side fitting here. So side fitting, we're not going to worry too much about side fitting. I generally don't mess around with side fitting too much myself. Perhaps the nose here in this case can be kind of straightened out a little bit. There's this kind of edge kind of jutting out in the bottom there. So what we can do is we can kind of, bring this part out a little bit and bring this nostril in a little bit as well. In this case, it's kind of going to kind of be tricky a little bit because we don't have that extra marker there. Okay, we'll just kind of do something like this, and you can kind of click and drag again to bring the nose up or down. Just kind of leave it the way it is right there. We're going to go to the mouth. Now the mouth, we're not going to really mess around with it. Again, the placement of the markers on the left image there don't really accurately represent the image on the right. So you need to just kind of work with it as it goes along and kind of just massage it to your preference there. Okay, I think we're okay for the side of the face as well. I can maybe bring the head back a little bit, just like this, round it out if I want. We're going to go to all. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on the side fitting part here. We're going to go to texture blending now. Texture blending is the fun part. Now, the image that I showed you before, with the Saul Goodman character, just like this. Notice the difference here. So in this image, I've actually photoshopped it. I've added a bunch of stuff kind of to the outer parts of the character's head there. And what this does is for the 2D image that we import in, the 3D head editor actually has more material to work with now, and it can use all this other material as opposed to a background or something. And that will allow you to kind of blend a bit more, a bit better in CrazyTalk 8. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you here the blend type. If I choose this one, for example, it's going to use more of our original image. You can see that big purple background appears again on the left side of the chin there, which we don't want. The blend type 3, even more. So there's more on the top of the head there as well. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use blend type 1 here for now, because we're going to kind of fix this a little bit later on there as well. And you can change the skin color if you want. So if I wanted the skin kind of to be a little bit lighter, I can use this color picker tool here. I can pick the color just like this, okay? And it'll lighten it up a little bit just like that. Or you can choose a darker color like this, and we'll get a darker kind of head area on the side. We're not going to worry about that too much because we're going to go into Photoshop later and fix this anyways. All right, so one thing you may want to do though is if your character has a kind of a cartoon look like this, like 3-level shading, you can see the light color and the dark, basically the really sharp shading. What you can do is you can change your pore size, make it a lot smaller, and you can change your strength to a lot further down. What that'll do is that'll kind of smooth out the head a little bit, the skin on the head a little bit, but we want to smooth that out even more actually. So we're going to go into Photoshop a little bit later on as well. But let's go into the detailed morph section now. We're not going to worry too much about texture blending. Okay, so detailed morph here. What we're going to do is we're going to fix those kind of parts. We're going to exaggerate the cheeks and the ears like I mentioned before. So what we can do is we can go to cheek, for example, here. We can increase the cheekbone size just like this and kind of bulge those out quite a bit, just like that. And cheekbone height, we can adjust that as well if we want it to be higher or lower. Then we can go into the jaw, for example, or the forehead. In this case, I'm going to go to the full head here. We can make it a bit younger as well, make our character look older or younger by adjusting these young sliders here. There's also the nose. We're not going to worry too much about the nose. There's a lot of sliders on the nose that you can mess around with on your own time. I'm just going to go ahead to the jaw now. Now the jaw, what we can do is we can adjust the jaw angle a little bit, just like this. You can see a very slight change in the jaw angle there. The jaw line depth, okay, we can kind of give them like a double chin, like a Alfred Hitchcock kind of chin there, or kind of bring that up and make it nice and tight. All right, so there's all kinds of fun stuff you can do with in this section here. But what I'm going to do is we're just going to go ahead and kind of work with that. With the full head section, we can make it a little bit more narrow if you want, or bring it out like this. Okay, and we got those really exaggerated cheeks and everything as well. Okay, so that's basically it for detailed morph. You can kind of mess around with these on your own time. I'm just going to go ahead and select apply. And the next step we're going to go into is, we don't need to save our project here. This is the old project. The 2D head, we're not going to save that. All right, so here's our 3D character. It doesn't look too good right now. What we're going to do is we're going to actually go ahead into our character's materials now. So with our character, we're going to go over here to materials, or texture settings rather. So in texture settings, you can see we have a skin head texture and a skin body texture here as well. And you can see the diffuse map right there. Now if you want to launch that in Photoshop, there's no direct launch button at the moment, but there may be in the future. All you need to do is go ahead and save the image. So select the diffuse map right there and go ahead and select save file. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. We'll call it head, for example here. Go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to go to my desktop here. And there's my head JPEG right there. I'm just going to right click it and select open with Adobe Photoshop. Now you can use, if you don't have Photoshop, you can use a free software called GIMP. That's G-I-M-P, GIMP. It's fairly good, a little bit slower response time I find, but $9 a month for Photoshop or something like that isn't too bad. All right, so here's our character's texture map right here. Now there's a really good tutorial actually that I came across in the forums. If you want to kind of get a more detailed overview of this process here, There's a really funny tutorial actually that someone posted in the forums. I'm just going to go here and show it to you real quick here. Down here in the actual forum, there is a guy that created this, Kelly Tunes, created this cool looking archer character. And he also posted a little bit further down the video that he used, how to do this. All right, so you can go here and select, just click on YouTube here, and we'll launch it in external tool here. This is a really good, really well done tutorial video. I'm not sure who did it. Tarampa Studios, I'm not sure who that is. But basically, I'll paste this URL for you guys in the chat window as well here, just to kind of, so you can reference it on your own time there. This is a really funny, really clever tutorial video done by Tarampa Studios, I guess. So at certain points there's Archer making flips through the screen, which is kind of funny. But anyways, I'd really recommend checking it out. It goes into iClone as well. If you have iClone, it imports the 3D head into iClone as well. All right, let's go into Photoshop and focus on our process here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold Alt and scroll my mouse button to zoom in on Photoshop. I'm going to select my paintbrush tool, okay? And then I'm going to hold the Alt key, and that'll bring up my picker little icon there, picker cursor. I'm just going to click on the character's forehead anywhere, okay? Because what we want to do is we want to get this more of a smooth cartoon type shading, okay? We don't want to have all this artificially generated skin texture. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do that. We're going to change our opacity up to 100 here. We're just going to basically paint the entire head, this shade, okay? You can use the right and left bracket keys to increase or decrease the size of your brush area there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and basically paint this entire forehead area just like this, okay? And we can go all the way up to the very top of the edge here. This section here represents the side of the head. So this is where the side of the character's head will be. We just kind of want to make this all a universal color, okay? So it looks a bit more cartoonish as opposed to you know, the fake realism that we're trying to, that CrazyTalk 8 generates for the head there. All right, let's kind of place this, or just paint a little bit more for the head there, and then you can go and hold Alt and scroll your mouse button to zoom in. And I'm going to just hold Alt and click over here to get a different color for our paintbrush. And then I'm just going to go ahead and you know, paint the darker parts of the face right here. Okay, so we're going to kind of have a kind of artificial shadowing on the right side of his, or left side of his face rather. Okay, let's kind of. Again, I'm not really good at Photoshop, and I'm using a mouse here, so bear with me while I struggle through this painting process here. But basically, that's all you want to do here is just you know, go ahead and let's just minimize this a little bit. Again, paint this entire head area here to whatever color you need, okay? We'll just kind of make it go up like this and then be down like this. And for the chin, I'm not going to worry about all those black lines that we don't need, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and color over those just like this. And yeah, this is the fun part. It's kind of brushing stuff in Photoshop really quickly. And if you haven't guessed yet, this is kind of how the same process we're going to use for giving our character a black eye. Okay, so we'll come back into Photoshop in just a moment here. And we'll be about 10 more minutes of webinar time. And then the rest we're going to do a Q&A session here. So I think this looks okay for now. Let's go ahead and save this out. I'm going to show you what it looks like on our character when we replace it. All right, so let's go ahead and go to File and Save. We can go to Save As. Make sure it's a JPEG. We'll just call it a head. Doesn't really matter if we overwrite it. Okay. And then in CrazyTalk, I'm going to go over here and just double-click the diffuse channel. Again, there's double-clicking this diffuse channel here. And then we can load in that head image. Okay, and you can see when we do that, the head gets a lot smoother. It's because we basically just painted over it in Photoshop, all that unnecessary stuff. We can scroll through our timeline or just click and drag on this little marker here on the timeline, and you can see our character's face looking from all separate angles, okay? All right, so we got a nice, much more refined and universal or uniform shadowing. You can see on the right side of, or left, the right side of his head, our left side here, you can see that we've kind of missed a little part right there. And that part is the part that's closest to the ear. So if we go back to Photoshop like this, that's this part right here. Okay, I'm not really going to worry about that. Again, I'll just show you really quickly how we can replace that. Again, just like this and like this. I think let me look at his chin here as well. And again, you can go even further down on the neck area there as well if you want. What I'll do for the neck here, see this line? You can kind of see like a line along here. That's the extent of the neck, and this is all you really need to worry about for your texture. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint this a darker color here. Because there should kind of be normally shadows underneath the neck there. And we have artificial shadows on the left side of his face there. So let's kind of place that just like this. Okay. And you can always, again, save and reload the different heads. Get different results there. Let's just kind of move that over there. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and save this. And that'll just, then we need to reload in our head. So again, double click and load in the head that we overwrote. You can see the results right there. All right, it's good enough. So that's kind of how you do that. All right, so there's our 3D head. Now what we can do here is we can replace the eyes and the teeth as well if we want. Now again, like I mentioned before, there's kind of like some whiteness poking through there for the teeth. If you want to get rid of that, I find the easiest way to do it is just, let's go to like any position really. Let's go to this one here and go to your face key editor. And in face key editor, just select default key, and that normally does fix it. I think you have to go from a different angle there. Okay, not sure why it's not doing it this time, but normally that fixes the little kind of teeth appearing through the lips, maybe because I haven't added teeth yet. So let's go over here to teeth settings. All right. So if you want to, change the teeth that you have on your character, you can go here and adjust those. If you want to change the angle or anything like that, you can do so. You can make the teeth brighter like this or darker. All right. All sorts of fun stuff you can do with the teeth here. You can rotate them. If you go to move, you can kind of move them a little bit. If you want to be down further on the y-axis, you can say, for example, go to like something like 1, and that lower teeth will kind of lower there. Let's just take it back to 0 here. All right. So that's how you can change the brightness and the scale. You can make your teeth bigger and everything like that as well. Go to closed mouth, it'll be like that. It may be because I don't have the most accurate positioning of my lip markers. And that's a good point. If you want to go back and adjust the positioning of any part of your character's face, you can do so just by going up here and to head fitting right here. So this icon right here, head fitting. Select this, and it'll say the customized head and eyelash texture images of this actor will be reset. It doesn't really matter in this case because we can just reload the one we already saved. So we can just go ahead and press yes, and it'll say the customized eye will be replaced and everything like that. So if you want to go back in at any point and kind of adjust those those markers, you can do so as well. I may have placed it a little bit too high or something like that. Try and bring it down a little bit. Again, this stuff can be pretty finicky. Let's bring it down just like this here. And I think we'll just go ahead and work with that. Just kind of want to show you guys how you can go back in. This character, like I mentioned, has a fairly tricky mouth. And now, again, we've replaced those textures on the side of the head and everything as well. So what I need to do, again, go into materials, or texture settings rather, select my skin and head, and load in that head diffuse map. There you go. We are all done. And you can do the same thing with the skin body. Okay, so if you select skin body, you can see there's kind of like a strange kind of border there between the body and the head. We can do change the skin body, save that out as well. Just to save this one as body. Go to save it to our desktop there, and we can load in body in Photoshop as well. So let's right click and open with Photoshop. And there's the body. So you don't really need to worry about, unless you're taking him into iClone, you don't really need to worry about the rest of the body parts there. We can just go ahead and focus on the neck area. Again, all you want to do is just kind of make this uniform. So let's just kind of Alt and click right here. I'm going to create like a nice kind of neck area just like this. Okay, and kind of bring it out like this. And all you really want to do is just kind of create like a simple artificial type of neck. And I just click this dark part here to do so. And we'll just create kind of like a ridge along the neck like this. Again, don't worry if it doesn't look too good, because you can always go ahead and use the smudge tool like this, which I often use, just like this, to kind of smudge things out. All right, just get a softer kind of result. All right, something like this. Just kind of bring it out like that. Again, this is not looking to look super good because I'm not really too much of an artist in Photoshop, and I'm using a mouse here, which is a little bit difficult to mess around with, but we'll go ahead and work with that again. Okay, just create this kind of blended area just like this. And there's probably those of you who are much better than me at Photoshop attending this webinar, so you're probably like, what is he doing? Anyways, okay, so we'll just go ahead and work with that for the neck there. Go ahead and save that. And we'll load in the separate body here. Same procedure. There you go. Okay, so that, basically the neck's taken care of there. And we're going to put clothing on our character next, so we don't really need to worry about the body, the rest of the body there. So let's talk now about the clothing part. We have about 10 minutes left to figure out the clothing and kind of how to add accessories to our character. So the easiest example here, like I showed before, is the teacher Sam here. The teacher Sam that I'm going to go ahead and get started right now. So that's a really easy example. All I want to do is go to Actor Elements here and just click up here at Actor Elements to go back to your base folder. And we'll go ahead and give them some clothes. So go to the body folder right here. And there, if you download the Dress Showtime pack, it's going to be right here. And you're going to have a folder right here called Dress Showtime. What I'm going to do is go over here to just select a regular old blazer. These are the embedded stuff that come with CrazyTalk 8, the ones down here. So you should have all these ones down here. All right, so you can give them like a nice kind of weird looking purple shirt and blue blazer there. But I'm going to go into the Dress Showtime because this is the kind of pack we're promoting here. There's a whole bunch of other stuff here, a whole ton of dresses, blazers. I'm going to go ahead and throw in this suit A. Kind of looks like an Undertaker or an FBI kind of suit, this one right here. All right, and then we can go back into the Actor Elements here and into Accessories and into Body. And I believe it is in the Party Fun pack here. So this is a separate pack here, but you can get this pack with a certificate from the content store we're handing out if you fill out the survey. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that Party Fun. We can just find a nice necktie for Sam right here. All right, and there you go. We throw a nice necktie on him. And the only thing left to do is go to the Actor Elements root folder again here, and then go into Hair. And the hair, I think the white hair can be found in the Party Fun pack as well. You can give them like the bald look like this, or you give like a bald comb over, even better. And then we'll throw on some glasses as well. So going to the root folder, Actor Elements, Accessories, and Head. And I think we have these hipster glasses somewhere around here. They might be in the Party Fun pack again. All right, so Party Fun pack is another good one to look at if you're serious about getting into this kind of character creation here. Where are those glasses? I believe I may have missed them. All right, let's see. Oh, face, right? They're not in head, they're in face. Too many folders here. All right, so in face, you can give them like a clown nose and stuff like that. You can give them earrings, which I'll show you in just a moment. We have these reading glasses. They're part of the embedded material here. So there we go. We have the intelligent-looking Professor Samuel L. Jackson right here. Now, if we want to get to the punk Samuel L. Jackson, let's go ahead and get that started. First of all, let's go to Actor Elements for the body. And I'm going to go to the Dress Showtime pack where you can find this kind of punk look. Male punk pack right here. So you can see there's tons and tons and tons of options for that Dress Showtime. You can get these all for $1, which is a steal of a deal. Let's go ahead and just throw this male punk in here. Give him the body of this male punk. Now the necktie remains there. If you want to get rid of the necktie, all you got to do is go up to here to Accessory Settings, and you can find your necktie right here and just select it and press the trash button right here, delete, and that'll get rid of the necktie there. All right, let's give him some more punkish type stuff here. So I'm going to go to the hair, And in the party fun bonus folder here, we have a mohawk type deal. Let's just throw this mohawk in there. There we go. Give me a moment here. And then if we want to, throw some piercings in there as well, we can go to Actor Elements. And I believe in the head, we can find some, whoops. Nope, we need to go to Accessory rather, and then Head. And, we can throw on some berets and stuff like that, some sunglasses and whatnot. In the Party Fun Pack, there's all kinds of other stuff you can throw on in there as well, like caps and stuff. We can just throw in this sports band real quick here. Now you can see with the sports band, because our character has such a big head, it doesn't really fit properly. So what we need to do is we need to go into our accessory settings one more time. Let's just give him a front facing profile here. And go into our accessory settings right here. And sports headband, all we need to do is just go ahead and move it ahead on the y-axis, just like this. All right. And there we go. So we can use a value of like 2 or 3 to get it in front of the mohawk there as well. All right, so let's go ahead and work with that. And you can scale, you can make it larger as well if you want, or you can rotate it to different directions. I'm just going to go ahead and work with that though. And then let's go to the face, and let's give him some piercings here. So we can give him like an eyebrow ring, just throw that in there. And that needs to be kind of moved a little bit further down. So let's go ahead and just throw everything in there first. Let's throw in a rock earring over here. Earring's placed okay. And then maybe a nose ring right here. Now notice that you can only place either the eyebrow ring or the nose ring. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it with the eyebrow ring actually. I think that looks a little bit better. But of course we need to kind of position it a little bit differently. So again, go to the accessory settings right here. And with our eyebrow ring selected, let's go to move and bring that down on the z-axis here. It's like this. Again, you can enter whatever value you want. And let's move it over a little bit on the y-axis here. Let's move it a little bit forward. Just enter like maybe -2 or something like that. It'll go into his head like that. If we press, just enter in a value of +1, it'll go up further like this. So a little bit too far. We can place it slowly in like that. All right, I think that looks okay. We can rotate it as well. I think on the z-axis or x here. Okay, you can see it kind of rotating there on the x-axis. And we'll just kind of work with that. Let's try -10 here. And, place it wherever you want. I'm not going to worry too much about the positioning here. Enter in whatever value that looks good. You can move it a little bit further on the x-axis here. All right, we'll work with that. All right, I'm not going to be too picky about the placement. I can spend all day doing that. Now, the most important part here I wanted to get to before we end off the webinar here is the adding custom materials to your character's facial map. So again, with the character selected, you can go up to texture settings here. And now you have the option to load in your blazer and t-shirt as well. You can actually put a symbol on your t-shirt if you want. You can load up that material. I'm going to go ahead and just do the skin head for now. I'll just save that. Save it as head. Place it. Okay. And then we'll go over to head and load that in Photoshop. Open with Photoshop here. And we can just go ahead and update it. And all I need to do is just go ahead and choose my brush. I'm going to use my bracket key to create a larger brush size. And I'm going to go to my foreground color here and select kind of a blackish little color there. And press OK. Now I can just draw over the eye just like this. I'm going to Control Z that. A better way to do is probably to use a little bit of a lower opacity. Okay, maybe 74 or something. Let's quickly just draw a little blackish part around his eye like that. Okay, and we can maybe have higher opacity in the middle there, just like this. Okay, just to kind of try and create a fade, and then we can maybe change it to a bit of a bluish color maybe, and something like this, and have that opacity down to like 25, and just kind of put it along the outer edge there. So we kind of have a little bit of a thing like that. Another thing we can do is we can also look for like, images on the internet. So if I go to like my browser here and I type in like something like cartoon bandage, well, I can go to images and find a bunch of cartoon bandages, maybe not something like these ones, but what I'm going to do now is go to settings, advanced search there. And we want to make sure that we have the file type set to PNG, because PNG is a transparent file, okay, transparent image. Go to advanced search there, and you can just kind of copy or save any one of these bandage images here. Let's just go ahead and select this one here. Make sure it's transparent. There you go. Make sure the background is kind of a checkered background, so it's transparent. Just right click and go ahead and save it as, save image as, save it to our desktop as whatever. Okay, and then we can just go to our desktop, hold it up. On a PC, it's the Windows and M keys. You can press Windows and M and it'll go to your desktop. A little quick little hint there for you. And just click and drag this onto our image in Photoshop, just like this. It'll import as a really big layer, separate layer on our character's image there. So let's just go ahead and Alt and scroll to zoom out. And if I hold Shift and click and drag on the edge, it'll have a uniform scale just like this. Okay, and I can just move it to like place it somewhere like this on our character's forehead, just like this. All right, make it a little bit smaller, and then press Enter once you're satisfied with the positioning and everything like that. All right, now there's also a separate content pack that I can maybe mention a little bit later on, but I have it saved here. The Character Creator Essential Learning Resources Pack for all of you iClone users. This is a really, really good pack to have. I can give you the link for that a little bit later on. All right, and I'm going to go here to the Learning Resources. There's a bunch of different textures in here. So if you go to Custom Textures, there's decals, which we can load in, some scars, like some cuts and stuff like that. I'm going to go to Scar 3. Just click and drag this image in there as well. You can see it's a nice, gross-looking scar that we can kind of place that beneath our bandage there. And just rotate it a little bit, just like this. Press Enter. And then we need to click and drag the layers there. So let's bring the bandage above the scar there. And let's just go ahead and rasterize that layer. Don't worry about that. Kind of just press the V hotkey to bring up your movement gizmo, movement cursor, whatever, and kind of place that wherever you want. Okay. So then we have a nice cut covered by a bandage on his forehead. And then we can go ahead and save that out. Oops. Let's go ahead and save it as our image there. Select a JPEG format and just save it as head. And we're just overwriting everything here. There you go. And then just load that separate one in Photoshop. And there we go. We have Samuel L. Jackson with a black eye and a little bandage on the head there. And that's basically how you do it. You can add stuff to your blazer, to your T-shirt if you want. Add a different symbol onto the T-shirt and everything. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So I think we're about good for time. Let's go ahead to our Q&A session now. So if you have any questions, make sure you put those in the GoToWebinar panel there in the questions section. And I'll be getting to those in just a moment. As well, you can also email me if you have any questions as well about the procedure I went through today or anything related to Reallusion or iClone or CrazyTalk. You can email me. My name is Kai. That's K-A-I at reallusion.com. Okay, so Kai, K-A-I at reallusion.com. All right, so let's get to the Q&A. All right, so we already have some questions in the panel here. So question from Marie, is it possible to make a transparent background? Yeah, very possible to make a transparent background. Basically, when you export, if you don't have any background image, so if you don't have any of these backgrounds on your image, you can actually export as a transparent PNG, or you can export as a video. MOV, I believe, for Mac is transparent. So if you go up to export here, export video or image, we have the option to go to image, and you can go to PNG, and you can it'll export as a transparent PNG. You can export the entire thing as an image sequence as well. So a transparent PNG sequence, just like this, and that'll export transparent for PNG sequence. Okay, you can place that over anything you want. Make sure you check your output size here. Choose whatever you want, frame size, okay? For video, the transparent format is MOV, okay? So QuickTime, MOV. That is your transparent format for that. All right, so hopefully that answers your question there, Marie. Let me go back to the question section here. All right, question from Paul. Is the head creation in 2D and 3D the same or similar for animals or any other object? Yeah, basically the process is the same for everything. Same for animals or whatever you have. The same process that we went through. Now we have CrazyTalk Animator as well, which is basically our 2D tool for head creation, and it also has 2D body animation as well. Okay, so CrazyTalk Animator is something you may want to check out as well. That's if you want to have any sort of body animation in a 2D environment, CrazyTalk Animator is good for that. All right, the next one here is from Charlie. Are there more profiles available, or can profiles be customized, say to create a wild or weird one? Not sure what you mean by profile, Charlie. Maybe you can give me a bit more information on that there. If we go up to the face fitting, I think you may be talking about the facial profiles that we talked about. I'm just going to go ahead and the facial profiles like the Caucasian or African or whatnot. You may be talking about that, but I'm not really sure yet. If you want to save your character, by the way, you go over here to Actor, and in Actor, just go to Custom. Okay, so there's Template, and there's a Custom tab, and in Custom, you go to Actor. There's 3D Actor, 2D Actor. I normally just go to 3D Actor and save out from here. Just press the plus key down here, and that'll allow you to save your character like this. And you can save them as Sam Demo, okay, whatever. And there you go. You can load that guy in whenever you want on top of that. So maybe just give me some more information on that if you can, if that answered your question there. There we go. Charlie. Craig Smith asks, can this be done in CrazyTalk 7? A lot of the stuff we took care of you can't do in CrazyTalk 7, unfortunately. But I'd really recommend upgrading to CrazyTalk 8. It's not too much. There's a lot of features that are a lot improved from CrazyTalk 7. In addition to the fact that you can export your 3D heads to iClone and any other 3D tool, whether you use like Max or Maya or Blender or anything like that, you can export these heads to that as well. Now, preface here, you do need 3D Exchange, which is our conversion software to do that. But you also need CrazyTalk 8 to create the 3D heads or iClone. All right. Okay, so Anthony asks, how do we get the clothing pack for $1? Okay, so Anthony, there's in the chat window, there's a link that I provided for you guys. The first one is a forum link, and that'll take you guys to this forum link right here, or this page right here. And basically what you need to do is you need to create your own 3D head and publish it on YouTube or whatever and send us the link, okay? So or post it here actually, post it in the forums, post the link here in the forum. And when we see that, we'll be able to send you a discount code basically for the dress up pack for $1. So it's normally $30 on sale for $1. And if you fill out the survey, you get the $10 gift certificate for the content store, so it's essentially free if you do all that, okay? All right, so, whoops, let's go back to the questions here. Got a few more questions to get through. So Tim asks, where does the body get created? The body is just automatically generated, really. CrazyTalk 8, we don't focus on the body, we focus on the head. If you want to focus on 3D bodies, you need to get iClone actually. So iClone is the software that you need for 3D animation. CrazyTalk Animator is for 2D body and whatever animation. And iClone is our most comprehensive tool is iClone. If you haven't checked out iClone, I really recommend checking it out. It's a really fun and pretty easy to use tool. It's pretty simple to learn. We have lots of tutorials. Now, if you guys, I'll actually post a link here, another link for the learning resources page, because I get a lot of emails from people asking about, certain topics that they want to learn more about. I'd recommend checking out our learning resources page. You can find that by going to reallusion.com, and let's go over here. So from our main page, just go up to here, and whether you want 2D animation or 3D animation, you can select 2D animation here and just select CrazyTalk. And on the CrazyTalk page, let's get rid of this ad here, you can go up to Learn and Support, and you can find the Learning Center here. So the Learning Center has a bunch of tutorials listed by topic. So I'd really recommend checking these out here for whatever your need is. There's automotion, dress up and atmosphere, lip sync and stuff. We didn't get into any of the animation in this webinar, but there's a lot of cool tutorials done by yours truly that deal with animation, and also the stuff I was mentioning before, exporting the pipeline to iClone, exporting your 3D heads and stuff. So I'll post this link here in the chat window, just for easy access for you guys there. All right, and let's get back to the questions. Okay, so the inevitable question here from John. iClone for Mac. We don't have iClone for Mac right now. We don't have any immediate plans to launch iClone for Mac, unfortunately. So apologies to all you Mac users who have been clamoring for that for decades here, or for ages rather, not decades quite. But yeah, not in the near future here, iClone for Mac. Okay, let me get to the next question. Okay, so a little bit of more information from Charlie here. Can the base design profile be modified? Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can modify the base design profile here. So once you have your character already, you can go back into the fitting stuff here as well, and the eye settings and teeth settings. You can also load in custom eyes here. I forgot to mention this, but let's go ahead and quickly just do that for this character just to kind of show you. If you go to eye settings, it'll just load up this option here, and then you go to actor elements, eye, human eye. I'm just going to kind of show you guys how to do that. Just throw the dark brown eyes here. All right, and then I'd recommend just doing that. If you want to increase the brightness of the white parts of the eyes to make it look more cartoony, then you can go here and select eyeball white and just brighten that up a little bit. Use the brightness slider just like that. Okay, just a quick little tip there. And close that down. And okay, but if you want to adjust the profile, go back into head fitting here. Again, it's going to reset your the textures on your character's face. Okay, but you can also just load that back in again. And basically everything that we went through is all in here now. So again, if detailed morph, you can change the profile here using the detailed morph, the side fitting, the texture blending, the front fitting, and all this stuff. You can't save, unfortunately, your any settings in here. You can't save in here, but you can always just save your character, like I showed you before, in the 3D, in the custom panel, in 3D head, and then you can go back and modify it whenever you want, just like this. Again, all these options right here. But that's how you can go back in, and once you do that, if you press apply, you'll have to reset your reload in your texture images and everything there as well. All right, let's go to our next couple questions here. Okay, question from Anthony. Can we add custom clothing for the heads? Custom clothing like that you created yourself, unfortunately, we don't have that option right now. That may be something that we add in the future. I think it's a really good option to have in CrazyTalk 8. But we kind of try to keep CrazyTalk 8 rather simple. We don't try to add too many features onto it, because a lot of the other features can be found in iClone or CrazyTalk Animator. You can create custom clothing for your characters in iClone. If you're not familiar with it, iClone Character Creator is something that you can create custom clothing for. Character Creator, you can go to our website here, and under 3D animation right here, Character Creator, where is it? Oh, maybe under, oh, there it is. kind of blind. All right, so check out Character Creator. You can create your own custom characters, and you can actually load these heads into in CrazyTalk 8 as well. Character Creator comes free when you purchase iClone. All right, so it's a free character generation tool. To create your own custom clothes for this, the process is a little bit more complicated than I'm willing to get into in this beginner's webinar, but it's definitely possible. You can create your own clothing for Character Creator. All right, so make sure you check out our other upcoming tutorials on how to do that. We also have some for like Marvelous Designer, for those of you who may be familiar with that 3D creation tool there for character clothing. All right, I think we have maybe one or two more questions here. All right, no, I think we're good. So if anyone has any final questions, make sure you put those in the questions panel. This is awesome. We don't really have too many questions, so hopefully I did a good job at explaining the procedure for you guys there. And again, if you have any questions after this, you can just email me, kai@reallusion.com. One more here. So Anthony, we can create a character and upload it to the forum to get the pack for $1. Yes, so just upload like a video, so a YouTube video. Create your head. You can animate it if you want. I'd recommend animating it. Just show your talent and show what kind of stuff you want to, what kind of stuff you can do there, and upload that to our forum. And we'll give you the code for the $1 discount code for the pack there. All right. Okay, so I think we're good to go. We're actually relatively on time today, so I'd like to thank everyone so much for attending. Hopefully you learned a lot. Again, this is a very basic webinar on the basics of 2D and 3D head creation and customization. So hopefully you learned a lot. Don't forget to fill out the survey. We're going to send out the survey for you guys. $10 gift certificate from the content store there, and post your video of your character's head on the forum and get the $1 discount code for the pack there, the dress up showtime pack right here. All right, I think we're good to go. Again, email me kai@reallusion.com, kai@reallusion.com if you have any further questions. I'm always happy to give you guys any sort of feedback or help you with any sort of process or procedure you're looking to get familiar with in CrazyTalk 8. Good, and we're also recording this webinar as well, so if anything went too fast for you guys or you want to review stuff at any time, you can check out, we're going to be sending you a link, a YouTube link, where you can review this entire webinar at your own leisure. All right, so again, thanks so much for everyone for attending. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And that's good for now. I'll see you in the next tutorial video or webinar.